guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. So today we're going to be going over the latest episode of The Oval, episode number 13, called Fear of God. All right, let's get right into it. So we first start off with Barry being taken into custody because he's found with a bloody knife. So the cops that showed up asked Nancy and Richard who called them. And Richard says, "What, you don't know?" And the cop tells him, "We were here on a bench warrant." So sadly, the cops that were initially called for the Rakadouchi chick didn't even show up and are clearly taking their sweet time to get there. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, is the neighborhood bad? Because why didn't the cops show up? And as the scene goes along, it doesn't seem like they ever showed up. Anyway, so Richard tells the cops that a woman committed suicide in their home. So instead of going inside to look first, they tell Richard and Nancy to put their hands behind their backs. Then the female officer goes in and finds the Rakadouchi chick laid out, and she gets on her radio and says, "We got a homicide." And I'm like, really? Like, that doesn't even sound like the proper way to call something in. If anything, they'll say, "We got a woman down with a gunshot wound," or something like that. Like, they can't just go and call it a homicide. Anyway, so that was stupid. So next we get a quick scene of Hunter freaking out over Denise's dead body. Then we have Victoria and her mom having lunch or dinner with the kids, whatever that is. And Victoria's mother, Miss Maude, aka wannabe Eartha Kitt, tells her grandkids that they should always smile, even when they're hurting inside. Anyway, it's starting to become a little irritating to hear her talk. Like, they're just like, it's kind of like they're trying to oversell this rich black woman or something. I don't know. Anyway, so after seeing that Victoria's kids are a mess, Maude decides that she's going to stick around a little longer. And I honestly can't wait to see how that's going to turn out for everyone at the White House. Next, we got Kyle, who finally goes into the president's room and finds him on the floor and a whole bloody scene, okay? He tells Hunter to get into the shower and scrub himself while he cleans up the bloody mess. I mean, Kyle is scrubbing, guys, okay? Doesn't look like it's working, but he's scrubbing away. He throws Denise's head into a bin like it was nothing, then her body as well. Next, we got Bobby, and he's with Lilly, and they're parked up in her car. Lilly tries to get Bobby to say what he has to say because she has places to be. So after she tells Bobby she doesn't trust him, he hands her an envelope with pictures of Kyle and Don. So, of course, she's upset, and she says, "How do I know these photos aren't fake?" So Bobby says, "You should ask him." Anyway, Lilly tells Bobby that this explains a lot since her and Don hadn't had sex in a long time. So long story short, guys, she tells Bobby to get out of her car. Next, a detective shows up at Richard and Nancy's house, and he starts asking questions that seem to assume that Nancy may have been upset with the Rakadouchi chick for taking Callie. So Richard said, "You know what, just take us in because we're not going to answer any questions. And Nancy, don't say anything else." So next, Jody the neighbor calls Sam at the White House and tells him what's going on at Richard and Nancy's. So Sam thanks her and then tells her that he'll look into it. Next, we're back with Kyle and Hunter, and Kyle advises Hunter to go back to the Oval immediately. So while Hunter is on his way, he has a phone conversation with Kyle, who instructs him to laugh and smile. All along, Max is listening, and he suspects that Kyle is up to something. Anyway, Max does a pretty good job at cleaning the room, I must say. The blood stains are all gone, and it looks like it's a freaking miracle because honestly, I really don't see how the blood stains would be gone. That type of furniture, I mean, unless they have some type of chemical that gets rid of blood, I just don't see it. Anyway, next we got Victoria and the family, and they're on their way back to the White House. And Jason asks Victoria why she puts up with Maude. And he says, "You get so scared when she comes around." So Victoria says, "You need to learn to fear her too." And of course, we got little Miss Attitude Gail, who says, "I'm not scared of her." And again, Victoria says, "You should be." And so my take on it is that when Gail and Jason get a little taste of what grandma is all about, they'll fall in line and be scared like their mother says to be. But they're going to have to learn first. So Miss Maude going to have to come up in there, shake some things up, and show that she is not to be played with. Anyway, so next we got Nancy, and she's at the station getting questioned by the detective, and he gets called out of the room to go outside. And when he gets out there, it's Sam. So he gets into Sam's truck, and Sam wants to know what's going on after he lets the detective know that he knows Nancy and Richard. So the detective tells him that they found a body in the house and it looks like a suicide, but he still has to check it out. He also says that the kid, Barry, has a mountain of evidence stacked against him. We're talking about a stack of cash in his room, a bullet hole in the passenger door of the same make and model connected to a homicide, and a bloody knife in his jacket pocket, which could be linked to Ruth Hartman's murder. So it's really not looking good for Barry right now, guys. But Sam wants to help anyway. That is his godson, so we do understand why he's going to try to do whatever he can to help. So he asks the detective if he could have Sam. He tells the detective that if Barry is dirty, he'll get a confession. Now, the detective isn't trying to hear this, okay? He's like, I'll give you the parents, but that's it. So Sam says, and him. So the detective says, listen, the mayor is all over me about a suspect for the murder of the old man. Sam says, I get it, but I'm calling in a long and overdue favor. Now, of course, I'm paraphrasing like I always do, guys, but clearly with Sam saying this, he backed the detective into a corner, and there's nothing left for the detective to do but to hand Barry over to Sam and Richard and Nancy. Next, we got Lilly, and she goes into Don's office, and it looks like she's trying to get him to have sex with her in the office, I guess, because she was coming on to him, okay, rubbing him down, and she kept saying stuff like, it's been a while, but Don was not interested, okay, so she asked him, why did you even marry me? Eventually, she asked Don if he was the one that sent Bobby to her to seduce her, and of course, Don had no clue, because we all know that it was Kyle who sent him. Anyway, Don says, did you sleep with Bobby? And so Lilly hits him right back with, did you sleep with Kyle? Are you having an affair with him? And of course, she had to whip out the pictures because Don was denying it like crazy, trying to act like he didn't know what she was talking about, looking at her like she's crazy, like, what are you talking about? Where is this coming from? You know, just straight up lying. Anyway, once she did that, all Don could say was, I'm sorry, because he was just caught red-handed. What else could you say, right? So Lilly says, so you're gay? And Don says, no, just with him. Of course, she doesn't believe him, and she tells him that she wants a divorce. But Don says, please, you can't. They told me that in order to have this job, I had to be married. So I chose you. And he tries to get into this whole thing about how it's a beautiful story and all that crap. And like, you know, it's a good match. Basically talking about how great their marriage looks on paper, you know. And it just, come on now. You can't sell that to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Not a woman that wants love. We ain't trying to hear about what you feel looks good on paper. If you're not touching me, you're not giving me that intimacy that I crave and want. What's wrong with you? So anyway, basically he tells her that they, meaning the White House administration, won't let Lilly leave him. So he tells her, you know, go and have your meeting with the first lady, and then when we get home later on, I'll explain everything to you. And honestly, I can't wait to hear it. But it just doesn't matter at this point because the woman, Lilly, is looking for someone to love her. She's looking for a relationship that makes her feel that she's wanted. And Don has not made her feel that way. She did let it be known that, you know, when she first married Don, he made her feel like she was the luckiest woman in the world. And obviously that changed real quick because she says they have not had sex in a long time. And that's why it was so easy for her to be seduced by Bobby. Anyway, so next, Sam picks up Nancy and Richard, and we find out that Piggy is definitely dead, okay? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I needed this to be confirmed since we didn't actually see Piggy get shot. Like we saw Kyle standing over him and we heard the gunshot, but we didn't see him go down like we saw the other guys go down before him, okay? So anyway, Sam tells Richard that they will use Piggy's death to their advantage by allowing him to take the fall for the old man's death. They'll say Piggy borrowed Barry's car and killed the old man. Then Sam tells Richard that Barry needs to go by the pharmacy and get, what was it, Hakeem? I forgot his name. The one that Sharon is her little ex-boyfriend or whatever, right? Get him to drop the charges, okay? And he needs to do that now, like today, okay? So Richard says, okay. Now, my thing is, how are they going to explain the knife? Because we already know Barry is not going to know how to explain it. He doesn't know how it got in his box or whatever it was in. Like, he doesn't know how the knife got into his room, all right? Because I think he found it in like this box or something like that. But anyway, So when Barry doesn't have a good explanation for that, what is Sam going to do then? You know? All right, so lastly, we got Kyle trying to get on the elevator, which seems to be out of service or delayed because of Max. Now, remember, when Max was listening to Kyle and the president talking with their little phony conversation, he said, "What is Kyle up to? And since you want to take my job, let's play." So now Max is playing with him, okay? He's trying to delay Kyle to get on the elevator for a reason. I guess he wants him to get caught. I don't know. So anyway, when the elevator finally gets to Kyle, Jean gets off, okay? And she immediately sees that he has a bin, like I guess it's like a laundry bin or whatever. And it's her job. So she says, "Do you want me to take it?" And he's like, "No, you will not take it." And so she's like, "Okay, are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure. You know, basically get up out of here, right?" So she notices the blood and decides to lift up the sheet, and she sees Denise's freaking bloody head, okay? Now, she screams and Sam has to cover her mouth and all of this stuff, you know what I mean? But I'm sure Max should be able to see this on the camera, right? Whatever. So now I just don't understand why Jean did that. All right. Because now she got to worry about Kyle, who is crazy. All right. He is not the person to be in a debt to. He's not a person that you basically should know about what he's up to. Okay. Because he plays dirty. He could easily have Jean killed and it wouldn't be another thought about it. Of course, the White House staff would be concerned and everything, but you could easily just have it swept under the rug and all that stuff. But anyway, my point is, if I saw, God forbid now, if I saw that, right, and somebody looked like they was trying to hide something, it looked like it had blood and this and that and the third, I'm gonna act like I don't notice anything, okay? Because you're not about to have me as someone that you need to worry about, or you think you need to worry about. You need to get rid of me, or you know what I'm saying? You're just not gonna have to worry about me being on your list of people after you after you feel like I done discovered something. So anyway, that was just my whole thing. But that was it, guys. That's how it went off. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode, okay? We went a few months without it. We're back. Let me know what you guys think of Miss Maude. That's Victoria's mother, okay? And how things are going to go in the White House. I really hope she shakes things up, even though, you know, the way she talk kind of gets on my nerves, but I still want to see how she shake things up. I actually like the way she has Victoria in check. Victoria is kind of like, I would say that Victoria is like her mother when her mother is not around. But then when her mom comes around, Victoria is like a little shy, scared little kid. You know what I'm saying? But I will also go as far as to say that Victoria may act like her mom when she's not around, but she don't have the same power that her mother does. Okay, that's what I believe. Anyway, so that was my review, guys. Let me know. Put your comments down below and let's talk about it. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a blessed one and take care. Bye-bye.